Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom right here on ET Now, and another two-wheeler EV major is hitting the markets with an IPO of almost 3,000 crore rupees. But with the way Ola Electric has performed since its listing and the troubles for the pure play EV players in the country, let us actually try and assess whether Ather Energy's IPO is a subscribe or a miss. And to help us decode all of that, we have Abhishek Gaushinde with us with his analysis. And Abhishek, you've been covering auto for as long as I think most of us can't even remember, yes. Given the fact that you understand the auto yes. industry peg very well, yes. Especially about two-wheeler industry. Yes. That one has gone through dynamic changes, yes. And with EV coming in, it's just been disrupting the market. Yes. If you could help us understand, how is that entire scenario or the stage set for two-wheelers, especially EV?
So, if we talk about the EV segment, then obviously I can say that the first phase of the EV segment is almost over. Okay. So, initially the new age players have started coming to the market, they have gained the market space, they have built up overall the market. But later on, this new age players have entered into the market and the whole market dynamics have been changed. So, in last 5 years, if you see, the cumulative market share of the new age players have been declining, while the cumulative market share of the legacy players have been increasing, and we can say that the Bajaj Chetak and the TVS Motors iQube have been aggressively gaining the market share in the market. Yesterday only, this TVS Motors indicated that almost 9-10% of its revenue is coming from the EV segment, and almost for Bajaj Auto 20-25% of its revenue is coming, domestic revenue is coming from the EV segment. So now the industry is entering into the second phase where we have started monitoring that what kind of a profitability these players will gain over the period, and over the period what we are assuming that industry will enter into the third phase where we will see the kind of some kind of a consolidation in the market, and under the third phase we will see the exit from the non-serious or the weak players from the market, and what we can assume based on the trend so far, the legacy players will gain more market share over the period.
Right, but you know, Abhishek, now we already have Ola.
Yes.
That's already come into the market, saw a bumper listing, and from there on we know what is done to the fortunes of a lot of investors, and not to forget that they also have their own internal issues that they're yet to figure out or sort. Now, despite having burnt fingers for most of the investors in Ola, now you have Ather Energy coming out with the IPO. How should one position themselves? What's the primary readings of the company? And how is it placed when you compare it to Ola actually?
If you talk about the Ola, I can say that the post-Ola, the EV euphoria has somehow started diminishing. Right. Say for example, in 2024, the overall investment or the funding for the EVs have been started declining. And if you can talk about the Ola, so Ola is currently trading below its listing price, and from top we can say it has been corrected over 60%. So yes, people are cautious about Ather now because things are not materially different in both the companies. Both are the loss-making companies. Both are now facing competition with the legacy players, and still we don't know at what point this kind of a companies will turn around. So when people talk about the valuations or the intrinsic value of the company at this point of a time, we don't have a clear-cut visibility about the future cash flow of the company, and you know that fundamentally we follow this DCF valuations or whatever be the valuations you follow, you have some kind of a visibility about the future cash flow that you and by that you assess the current value of the company or the current valuation about the company. But at this point of a time, you don't have that kind of a matrix, and on the top of that, your subsidies are declining. And when you're talking about the Ather Energy, it has not been eligible for this PLI benefit. So what is happening actually in this, that you talk about the disruption, we have seen some such kind of a disruptions by the new age players in the some other sectors like e-commerce or Q-commerce or in some other technology added products, but thing at here is completely different. In commercial space or in the FMCG space, people make losses or people burn the cash to get market share or to have a presence in the mind or to gain the market space or the mind space of the customers or for customer acquisition.
Right.
But here the case is completely different. You are burning the cash to sell a product, and you don't know by this burning of the cash you will get a repetition of the purchase or the same customers again. Because what is happening that in this space is that as the competition is rising, new products are coming, new technologies in the market, you don't know that at some point of a time your technology will get out of the market. So
Right.
thing is completely different, and here this new age, here the legacy players are coming out as a disruptor for the new age
Right.
players.
So just to recap, some of the red flags that you said, one, it is a loss-making company.
Yes.
The fact that you do not have clarity on the cash flow, how they are going to use that.
Yes.
The valuation also
Yes.
is a cause of concern,
Yes.
I
Yes.
say. Also, the fact that it's not eligible for the PLI subsidy, so
scheme.
that
Yes.
also could be a key negative for
Yes.
that. And you have the legacy players that are catching up and catching up with pace, because
Yes.
also the fact being that when you talk about legacy players, Abhishek, is the fact that you have trust on these players. You
Yes.
know they've been in the market,
Yes.
they have innovated, they have done their innovation. So all in all, I wanted to understand now the fact that the valuation, we're not sure how it is landed up, right? But would it be a right strategy for anybody right now who's already invested in Ola
Yes.
to look at Ather Energy's IPO? And also the fact being that, like you said, does it make sense that these new age players get premium valuation when you compare to legacy players?
So first I will talk about this premium valuation. So if this IPO could have come back, I think post COVID or 2-3 years back, then there is a case for the premium valuation, because at that time some kind of euphoria for the EV companies.
Right.
But right now it's not there. Second, you talk about the Ola. So people have burnt their hands in the Ola, and now shifting from Ola to Ather is like that you are shifting from one loss making company to another. There is no material difference if you find out in their performance. Both are loss making, even though it is assumed that the Ather's product portfolio is at premium to the Ola. But if you go by this per unit metrics, the situation is not so much different. Their ASPs, EBITDA loss per unit, or the adjusted loss per unit is almost same, or some minor differences there. What is materially more concern about the Ather Energy's IPO is that its current capacity is around, manufacturing capacity is around 4,20,000 units, and it is last year it did volumes of roughly over 1 lakh units. So you are sitting at the capacity of a 30-40%, and you are raising this money and utilizing almost 927 crores to set up a new plant in Maharashtra. So currently your capacity is underutilized, and you are setting up a new plant, and I don't see a major revenue or volume growth in the near term period or the medium term. So what would happen this overcapacity kind of case with the Ather? Two, you are utilizing almost 750 crore for this R&D expenses. I don't know that what would happen if technology would change, or if the outcome of the R&D would not match your initial
and also
estimates.
because this is such a market that is being disrupted with new technology day in and day out, which means that you have to innovate every time.
Yes. So
right?
that investment for the R&D will continue. So so that would
Which
not
means that there will be a cash burn all the time.
Yes, it would happen. See, understand the automobile. Automobile is a case of a scale of economy. If you are getting a volume, then you will be able to survive with this competition.
Right.
If you are not able to deliver the volumes or gain market share, then things would be quite difficult for you.
Right. So while there seems to be a lot of blinking red flags when you talk about the IPO, but lastly, I just wanted to get your final take or just a recap of the financial positioning of Ather as well as the market share positioning. Is that anything to look by and say, okay, maybe things are looking better?
See, all these things are in the hope.
Okay.
If you have experienced the case of Ola, then it's all these things are hope. In future, something good may happen, then things may turn around. But based on the numbers or the things available on the table, I think Ather has somehow missed the bus. Now, if you want to talk about the valuation metrics of this market cap to sales, then these legacy players are appears cheaper to you. Then what is the case? Means considering the 3-4 years kind of performance of all these new age players, and the kind of a concern street has raised on the legacy players, I think legacy players would have more weight on the new age players in the coming period.
And just to make it very clear for all of our viewers, legacy players would be the likes of Bajaj Auto or a TVS Motor or a Hero Motocorp, given the fact that all of these counters are actually into the electric vehicle mobility at this point in time. And what Abhishek is also trying to tell us, that maybe earlier on, if they had to actually come out with the IPO, would have been the right time, but now the bus is missed.
Yes, bus is missed. That is the conclusion. Bus is missed.
Bus is missed is what Abhishek has to say when you talk about Ather Energy IPO, and that's an exhaustive research analysis coming in on the IPO. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining us on the show. So that is about Ather Energy and the IPO. What are the red flags that one need to watch out for, and how does it actually stand when you compare it to Ola, or for the matter of fact, the legacy players in the auto industry. So that is all about that you need to know about Ather Energy. But with that, we're totally out of time on this edition of the Newsroom. It's a goodbye from me, Cheryl D'Souza. Thank you so much for watching.